Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I enjoyed the movie too. You know, after a while, when you start watching a lot of these Indian movies, you get used to their feel.
Yes.
So, like, you're watching, I'm like, so when are they going to begin to song and dance? Is it coming? Oh. Hello. How's it go? Hello. How does it go?
So, welcome to What the Flicks podcast, episode 59. And
59 or 60?
I'm Susan Ayers, and you are?
Who, me? Patty Smith.
I'm Lon Shima.
Jorge Sanchez.
Bob Nick Shields.
Okay. So, the movies we'll be discussing today are Baahubali, You People, Jung-Yi, Lay the Favorite, and All Quiet on the Western Front. And so I think we're starting with...
Me, yes. Because of all the reactions we got for RRR, we got a lot of recommendations. But this is one I actually mentioned on the show.
Yes, you did.
It is a film that is directed by S.S. Rajamouli and screenplay by, with a story credit given to V. Vijayendra Prasad.
Okay.
Well, that's easy for you to say.
ऊपर भूत प्रेत रहते हैं, बच्चों को चीर फाड़ के खा जाएंगे।
ये लोग जिनसे मैं अनजान हूं, मैं इनका भगवान कैसे बन गया? मैं हूं कौन? हमारे भगवान अमरेंद्र बाहुबली का रक्त हो तुम। जय महेशपति!
Okay, yes, and that last scene in the trailer, that's basically how the movie starts. This was sort of like I said, sort of a fat. I preferred this over RRR, so I'm sorry for all you RRR fans. Please don't send us hate mail.
I wouldn't go that far.
But I really did enjoy this because of the historical side of it. Not saying this is based on a true story, just the fact that, just looking at an old kingdom in India and sort of the fight for the throne in a way, which again, as we were schooled on that, like the Mahabharata is based on. But the Baahubali starts with that opening of a woman carrying a baby, trying to get it through a river. All of a sudden, praise to Shiva, saying, Mahendra Baahubali must live. And holds the baby up, and villagers find the baby, rescue the baby, and when the man takes the baby from her hand, she points to the mountain. So he relates this to the woman who told them to get the baby because she said this is her boon for being devout, I guess, to Shiva, and that the river god has sort of blessed her with a child that she had never had. But the child, over the next 25 years, becomes obsessed with going up to the mountain. They don't know why. He just keeps looking up and wonders what's up there. Even the mother's trying to discourage him, saying, no, it's evil. There's monsters. You don't want to go up there. But by the time he does hit 25, the two things sort of major happen. One is he finds a mask that falls down from the river, and it makes the imprint on the sand, and it's of a face that he seems to fall in love with. The second one is he actually pulls out a rock. They're sort of a sacred rock that they pray to Shiva that his mother was pouring water over so she could get him to stop obsessing about climbing up the mountain. He then pulls up the rock, and even the guru himself or the sage tells everyone, no, let him do this, because they're sort of witnessing something incredible, at least as he sees it. And he puts it under the waterfall, telling his mother, see, now it will always have water. You'll get whatever you want. But she doesn't get her wish because, inspired by the face in the sand of the mask, he literally is sort of guided up towards the falls and taught how to climb the mountain with images of this woman.
Right.
So while he's there, he finds out that she belongs to a group, and I thought they were a cult at first, but you find they're just a group of sort of soldiers who are sort of devoted to saving a woman. Oh, what was her name called? I'm sorry about that.
The
I want to
mother,
say
right?
Devasina. Well, we don't know that. Spoiler.
He's not there yet.
But what's sort of funny is that he just is so devoted to her that he decides to take on this challenge, because what he finds out that up the mountain is a kingdom called Mashimati, to which there is sort of a ruler there, but he doesn't know what his connection is at this time. But he does save the woman, and I won't going to go on beyond that, because then they start going back. They could all of a sudden, after saving the woman, they go back in time to tell a story of basically his beginnings.
Thank you. I never knew what happened then. That's where I got lost.
You find out where he's from,
Right.
in a way. So I have to admit, I thought this was a fun movie. I thought this was, the melodrama and the comedy, everything had me here. The musical numbers were fine. I didn't find them distractive at all, because they were actually sort of well timed, and lyrically, at least, they sort of moved the plot along as well. I thought the actors themselves were actually very good. I guess his name is, I got to see this now. His name is Prabhas, who plays Baahubali. And in the flashback, he's also playing his own father.
One of the highest paid Indian actors.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, to distinguish, Amendra was his father. Mahendra is his name, according to the woman who delivers him in the river. And then, but he's known as Shivudu by his adoptive mother, calls him that. I thought he was excellent playing both parts. I think the other actors, such as Rana Dagubati, who plays Balalanda, he was the one who's playing the current king of Mashimati. And then I thought Tamana, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, Tamana, playing Avintinka, who plays the girl that he is in love with. Right. I thought she was actually very good at sort of, again, very likable. You understand the relationship. They do have one of the weirdest makeover scenes in a movie ever, in my opinion. It's like, is it rape? Is it what? I don't know. But oddly enough, it was comical, and I thought very well done. But the actors I really thought were good was, there's an actor by the name of Satyarat as Katapa, who plays one of the slaves. His ancestors are basically sworn to protect whoever is king of Mashimati, which puts him in a dilemma, because another important character I thought was Ramya Krishna. She plays the Queen Mother in it. I thought she was excellent in this role. In fact, I think she got a lot of the critical acclaim, because she is the one who basically has, well, I won't say anything because you'll have to see it when they flash back. And also, you'll have to watch part 2 because that's where you get her story and everyone else's story, more or less, as well as Anushka Shetty, who plays Devasena. She is the woman who's basically chained and caged throughout the entire movie until Bahubali basically rescues her. I thought, again, the melodrama's there, the comedy's there, the music and dancing, but kudos to the director as always, because I think his cinematographer, that KK Senthil Kumar, excellent job.
Absolutely.
And the production design by this Sabu Siro was very good. And I guess the music by the M.M. Kiravani, because I didn't realize how important music was to Indian cinema. I mean, I sort of made jokes about quote unquote Bollywood films, always they're breaking into song that seem inappropriate at times and things like that. But I can see now, watching more of the cinema, that it is a really large
In
part
all
of it.
movies, music can change the entire
Yes.
feel of a movie.
Mood
I
and
think it's
feel.
kind of supposed to be like the emotion of the movie.
Yes,
It's
I think
supposed
so
to
too.
be
And the
the
narration too.
Yeah.
I know if you read the lyrics, you have the subtitles and you read the lyrics of the song is actually tells you
What's
where the
going
movie
on.
was put on
No,
and where it's going.
exactly. That's what the first song does. It actually tells you the story about the kingdom and everything. So, the one thing was the, like I said, that actor Satyarat playing Katapa. That was like the best character in my opinion. That's the kind of character I love. Someone who basically knows what his place is, sticks to it, and yet tragically has to follow to the rule, those rules that are instilled in him. And I think that's why the Indians say that term dharma. He knows what he's supposed to do and he will do it. You try to do everything righteously, but you have to be what you're meant to do. So I would recommend this movie. It is 2.5 hours. I will say this, there is an English version that's shorter. I happen to watch both, and I thought that was just as reliable too. In fact, I watched the shorter version with my father, which was nice, and he liked the movie too when he saw it. So either way, I just think that if you do watch it I think it was filmed in Tamil and Telugu, is that the name, Telugu language simultaneously. So that's the original languages, but I know it's also available in Hindi.
That's the one I watched, the Hindi.
Okay, yeah. That's the one I originally watched as well. So I would recommend this film.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I enjoyed the movie too. You know, after a while, when you watch, start watching a lot of these Indian movies, you get used to their feel.
Yes.
So like you're watching, I'm like, so when are they gonna break into the song and dance? Is it coming? But yeah, I actually enjoyed the movie. I thought it was I like, it's funny because I like that scene where he's trying to, I call it the courting scene, where he's fighting the girl. But it's also what you would call the
makeup.
one. But I go, it's so kind of so male oriented that it's, like this movie probably will get canceled in the US. It was made, and that scene would be like canceled. But it was so funny, and it's a classic, in the movie with the little mustache and everything. It kind of reminded me too of that scene of Chang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, when the father and the mother meet and they fight.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, she's doing stuff, and he's all like, and it's kind of reverse, where she's the one that's kind of getting him all excited with the martial arts and everything. But and also the music was amazing. That's one thing that got me to the cinematography and the music.
Yeah,
it's very
me
epic.
too.
It's very like it's big. Everything's big. It's a movie you have to see in the big theater. So I started watching it. I watched it on this little guy, but then I moved on to the television after that. But it's like, no, this movie needs to be watched in the big theater. But you put on your headphones and you really can feel the music. That's the thing when I watched it with my headphones on, and it was like right there. I enjoyed it.
Well,
Is that the 15-minute one?
There's an apocryphal story of a Hollywood producer who saw some footage of Fred Astaire early on, and his response was, "Can't sing, can't act, can dance a little." The guy who plays the lead in this on his best day
Unbelievable.
couldn't dream of that review getting a good review that good. This movie to me was so infantile. I couldn't. All right. I've seen covers of romance novels that were more interesting than this movie. So it's all about, this guy keeps climbing up a hill, and then he jumps like 200 feet across a gap and makes it okay and flexes his muscles. RRR was a ridiculous movie, but it was entertaining. This movie, I have to say, I couldn't last more than 15 minutes in this movie because I felt insulted by it. I felt my intelligence was being insulted. Now, I don't want to offend the subcontinent. I have no connection to that. I shouldn't say I have no connection to that culture. Some of my in-laws are from India. But this movie was not for me.
Very well said.
Okay.
Next.
Well, let me just say, the Indians know how to make an epic film. That's for damn sure, right? Apparently, this was the most expensive film ever made in India, and it's also the highest grossing film that was ever made, that has ever got the highest grossing from a Indian-made movie.
Well, of its time, because I believe RRR.
Well, that's not what my
I
info
would
said.
think also up until RRR. I think that might have surpassed it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will have to look that up.
Research.
Okay.
Research.
Actually, the story is based on the person Karna from the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata. Mahabharata.
Mahabharata.
Not Johnny Carson.
No, that's Karnak.
Spend a lot of time trying to figure out if he was a god or if he was a man. I really couldn't kind of figure that out. Like, is something happening on this level that's also happening on that level? I couldn't
No,
actually.
Sue, it was pretty simple all the way through.
Or were they just taking kind of poetic license? I really wasn't sure. With a mortal man, I wasn't sure. Apparently, he is the son of the sun god Surya, right? And the princess Kunti, that would be his mother. This is
That's from the Mahabharata.
This is the legend.
Okay.
If you like. He's kind of like a Hercules, a half god. What do you call those people?
Demigod.
A demigod. Yes. So.
Like Maui.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's a semigod with a noble birth because his mother is royalty. Anyways, so the original story was in Sanskrit, and the oldest surviving version of this is dated at 400 BC. The first copy of this is 400 BC, right? Anyways, it was but that made sense when you think this is really, and you put it like the story of Moses, or
It felt to me like I was watching Hercules
that sort
or
of
one of
thing.
those.
The Moses family is
Samson.
suing them.
Well, I think Moses is actually a story that comes from a lot back
Charlton
further on.
Heston.
Right.
But anyway, no, I mean it's a lot. Every there's
No, I know what you mean.
there's I don't know what you would call that, like from way back before that type, like that would be
Old Testament.
yeah, like
Deep Old Testament.
It's sort of like having the flood myth that
yes.
is in such ancient cultures,
Yes,
even
that-
before the Bible.
and
was
it
written.
goes through many cultures, right? Yeah. So anyways, it was pretty ambitious, but other than that, there's like that war scene goes on. How long did you time it, Patty? 45 minutes?
Yeah.
I was like, how long is this war scene? You'll find this a common theme that runs through many of our movies this time is like
Of all nationalities.
so it's the never-ending war scenes were a bit much, but many times what I really found interesting was the almost like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It was like that. They had I could see the choreography, and it was really quite amazing. Whoever choreographed that fight scene, it was like half dance, half. It was just something
Which
else.
fight scene can I ask? Because I'm sort of curious.
The last
There's a
one.
lot of-
Just the last battle sequence
Yes.
with the main.
It was 45 minutes. It's
No,
the-
no, I know the battle itself was, but
Yes.
you're talking about the whole battle.
I was
choreographed.
talking the whole
Oh, okay.
battle.
Yeah.
I started
do the trident.
because usually I'll start fading out at war scenes, right? So-
She does not know.
right, but
Yeah.
I just started to look at the detail of filming it, right? And it was like there was it reminded me a lot of the Chinese films.
Well, Asian, they
Kore-
have that kind of a bit that
Yeah.
almost fantasy, also
Yeah,
superhuman
absolutely.
level.
Yes,
Because I have to admit, one of the great scenes in that movie is the war scene with the what I call the flying carpet. You know, the big red.
Yeah, the carpet.
I thought that was so clever. I thought that was, because I even had I was actually at an Indian restaurant eating food with a friend, and he literally said, "What in the world's going on?" So I had to turn around, and they were watching Baahubali with that whole sequence. And I explained to him what happened, right? And I said, "Oh, watch. This isn't just the one thing." Because he said, "Is that a flying carpet?" I said, "No." I just told him how he does not have weapons.
Right.
He has come up with this strategy, and I said, "Just wait, and you'll see." And then, of course,
Because the other
it
army-
was
Good,
it was
actually.
very clever. I thought,
Yeah, me
with
too.
no weapons,
In a
this is what
smaller
we're
army,
doing.
dealing with a huge
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I like the the fantasy based mythology of the film, and I'm actually going to watch the second one because
Told you
because
would.
I know, I was still like, damn it, I got to watch the second one.
once I
Conclusion, right?
understanding that it's coming from thousands of years ago, the basic story, and it's I guess you would call it a religious story. I mean, at that time, that is their religion. That's the
Well,
their
the Mahabharata, according to what I've understood so far now, what it is it tells you how to live the life of karma and dharma.
Yeah, but
in there, it's not so much religious itself. It just shows you the philosophy behind all of that.
But don't
it's all the debates throughout
But-
the entire lives about how to act morally.
But this
basically.
story came way before that. It came.
No, no. I'm talking about the Mahabharata. What you had
No,
quoted,
I'm
yeah.
talking about the this myth, right? They don't really even know when it came from. That's the first time that the earliest they found it actually written. It exists, right? So it's a mythological fantasy film that is just eye candy for days. I couldn't stop looking at it. It was so colorful
true.
and
Yes.
rich, and the dancing and I didn't like it. The dancing in the Idiot that we watched, or
Three
the
Idiots?
the Three Idiots. But I loved it in this. I thought the dancing was excellent. I thought the choreography was excellent, and I thought the fight scenes were excellent because they're all choreographed.
Right.
You know, and
Yes.
and it's like just how he did that was so people. I have no idea. That was amazing. Okay.
Well, I didn't think the movie was that deep, to tell you the truth. But I did like this movie. I didn't like it as much as RRR because of the dancing scenes. But I got to say, this guy Probus, whoever he is, this guy's a big guy. And for him to be a great warrior, as well as a dancer, I was really impressed with that. And you can tell he really knows how to dance. He's got the hip thing down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was very impressed with that. I don't like the music in it. I'm not really into Indian music, but it went with the story. So.
Reminded me of Circus du Soleil.
But then I'm a real snob in music.
Yeah.
I thought visually it was outstanding. It truly was outstanding. But the story, I got to admit, once he climbed that mountain to save that lady, we both got lost. We didn't know if it was him.
Oh, I did. I didn't get lost. I did know.
I got lost.
You
I didn't
asked
know
me.
if he was playing him and we're going on, or he was going back.
They were going back.
I mean, they should have made
I
something,
see.
made him look a little different. Put his eye makeup on a little different. He looked like the same guy. So,
He looks a lot like his
But
dad.
it shows
Well,
you.
no, exactly, and see that's why in one of the sequences, right,
Right.
where the statue is falling down, he comes to the rope, and then he saves the old man. He pulls up the old man.
Right.
His mask comes off, and that's when they start chanting the name because he looks exactly like his father. So
Right.
that's what I'm
He
assuming.
looks exactly
right?
like
Yeah.
his father.
Exactly.
But even when I didn't understand where
was
it was
his mother
going,
even there?
I was entertained by it. I thought it was good. And I love fighting scenes, but As I told Susie, I kept walking back in the bedroom.
We
going,
both did. It was like, Patty, how long has this been going
45
on?
minutes. Because I love timing, how long they do it before it gets
Right.
boring. It was boring at 15, and they all get boring at 15. You really, to choreograph something like that, it's really hard. It's kind of like a guitar solo. You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah.
It can only be good so long before it gets boring. And that's a death trap right there.
Unless you're talking to a guitarist.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't think.
Are you
and
listening, Marvel?
I'm making a
love
very
Marvel.
sexist comment here, but I think men enjoy war scenes like women enjoy romantic
Romance,
stuff.
I
So
love
To
war
be quite
scenes.
honest, I don't agree with that because even
Thank you, Lon.
we've always talked about that. Like even watching Game of Thrones, it's like okay, another war, fine. Fast forward,
Yeah.
it's always the same.
Or
The only thing with this movie, the only reason they kept me was because this was going to determine who takes the throne between her son and her nephew, and that's why I was sort of interested because at first she says, "Oh, whoever kills the person
Right.
will become king." Then she says, "No, I want him brought to me alive."
Alive.
I don't.
That's
That
what
was their
always
downfall right there.
Right,
But also,
exactly.
too, is
I don't mean this in a snide way, but what's the difference between that and any other movie about royalty?
but they have the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just shows you
Well, no,
describing-
no, I'm just talking about in terms of the war sequence.
Right.
That's the only reason that kept my attention because
made the
what
attention?
the war was basically going to determine who was going to be crowned king or who was going to be crowned king.
Isn't that kind of always what it's about?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no. Well, no,
It
that's
is.
fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying that because of the movie, you have to realize this is sort of like you said, the last part of the movie. So
Yes.
this is what's happening, and this is also told in flashback. This is not currently what's going on
Right,
with the
right.
movie itself.
I'm so glad I stopped watching that movie.
Well, as I
Actually,
say,
it's
I think
good. It's a
yeah,
good
because
movie.
of that, I told Susie, if you watch the first one, you will have to watch the second one because that's going to go back to when before he was even born. So
One reason that the fight scenes were tolerable, and I love fight scenes. You know, I hate love scenes. They're just so boring.
yeah, me too.
But
But I hate
it's
war
because
fight
the
scenes too.
weapons were so unusual. Like,
yes,
the
exactly.
weapons
Oh
were
yes.
so neat.
They have to improvise.
Yeah.
You know how I could tell that they went back in time too? Because at first it kind of threw me off by, what's the guy's name? Katapa, by his beard.
Oh, the way he looked younger.
His
Yeah.
beard was black. And I go, oh, we're going
That's
back in time
true.
now.
That's
Exactly,
true.
yes.
Yeah, I just think that any kind of I once I adjusted to that it's I went after I watched the movie I went and I did some research on it because I'm like, is this I didn't understand where the story had a old feel. You know what I mean? Like a magical feel. And it's like I don't mean old like old. I mean old like
Ancient kind of a history,
yes,
kind of like-
yes. Like you're telling me something ancient, right? So I wanted to. So I began, and then when I read about, I was like, oh, that makes total sense because I always make a thing that this was in the time of magic, right? It's like this was in the time of magic. We don't have magic anymore. We have science or we have whatever, but magic existed in this time, so it makes total sense. Okay, so are we ready to?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
George.
I actually enjoyed it. I'll give it an 8.
I'll have to pass.
Why?
Give
Because
us
I
your
only saw
50.
15 minutes of it.
What did you think of that 15?
What was your
I wouldn't give it as high a rating as 0.
Oh, okay. Actually,
What's your number, Sue?
I give it a 10.
Oh my goodness.
I give it an 8.
I gave this a 7.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the highest he's ever done.
It's
And
like
your
my
own
20.
movie. No. Yeah, your own movie.
Yes. Because like I
Yeah.
said, I preferred this over RRR, which I gave a 6.
I can't
So
believe
this
it.
one's
I
a
mean,
7,
I like
yeah.
this movie, but RR was.
Well, this
The
was,
dance scenes
this,
alone.
I guess the technology of the movie, like making the movie, that the actual the all the stuff that went into this movie was unbelievable. I give it a 10 for that. Do you know what I mean? It was like
Yeah, but all movies are like that.
no, it's not.
You know, you say that you don't like that. They say you like Indian music. And to me, Indian music, I really like Indian music and Arabic music because it has the best percussion.
Arabic music.
The best percussion.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Arabic
Yes,
music
yes.
I like.
And
Well,
I
it was
listen to
Indian.
salsa.
Indian music I don't like it too. it
Oh, but-
reminds me
but the
of
percussion-
Asian music. I
That's
don't
more
like Asian,
but
music
Indian
either.
has amazing percussion.
Okay, so
The perfect Indian thing, Indian
We'll be
music
back.
thing to
We'll
me
be back.
is